Shalom. I want to give all praises, honors, and glories to Yahweh Ba'Hashem, Yahushua Ba'Hashem HaKakodash, and the march to the apostles and others, great Muslim, and salutations to the hopeful elect. This is your brother, I'm Noah Allah from Gem, Chicago. And this is going to be a quick lesson about holding on. Alright, and what I mean by holding on is that yesterday the class topic, was about maintaining steadfast in this truth. All right, even though we see that the wars, that little proxy war over there between I don't know how to call it anymore, but those tensions that have escalated over there between the U.S. and Iran and shit, and Israel may have calm for just for now and shit, but we still gotta wait until the rest of the prophecies be made fulfilled, right? Such as the RFID microchip, the draconian measures, right? The race wars, Esau declaring martial law, and of course, we see these prophecies that let us know that we're at the end and that Yahushua is about to return. But we can't keep our hopes too high, all right? Because things, the way how it's being played, with these prophecies that the Lord has it being played out is that you see tensions here and there and shit, and all of a sudden it dies down, it calms down for a little while, and all of a sudden escalations and tensions come straight back up. And the same repeat happens all over again, where everything calms down for a little while. And we know that we're at the end, but we're not literally like just there yet to where we're about to be delivered, because the prophecies, they still gotta come to pass first. All right, they gotta come in order. All right. So, Matthew 24, I'm going to go down. The parable of the fig tree. It says, Matthew 24 and 32, now learn the parable of the fig tree. When his branch is yet tender and putteth forth leaves, you know that summer is nigh. And the same thing with these prophecies, all right? The Lord show us these, the Lord show us through the scriptures that these major prophecies are going to take place in the near future, and we see it happening right before our very eyes. All right, but not all of them are being made manifested. All right, the prophecies have to come in order. All right, before the deliverance, before the destruction of America and the deliverance comes, the RFID microchip still has to be made manifested on the global scale, and it has to be made mandatory. All right, and it is going to take a while. Well, we still got to maintain, being steadfast in this truth. Verse 33. So likewise, when ye shall see all these things, know that it is near, even at the doors. Verily I say unto you, this generation shall not pass till all things be fulfilled. And that's right. The end of this age, the end of Esau's world, all right, is not going to pass until all the prophecies come to pass. All right, until all the prophecies be made manifested. The RFID microchip, the draconian measures, FEMA camps, martial law being declared, the race wars, the earthquakes in diverse places, these pestilences, all right, the famines in diverse places, the hyperinflation, where people are going to be struggling to get by, having to buy a loaf of bread, that being equivalent to a day's wage. You know, all these prophecies, you know, still have to come to pass, right, before the deliverance. But anyways, it says, now learn. So it says, verily I say unto you, this generation shall not pass till all these things be fulfilled. And that's right. You know, these prophecies, you know, they still got to be made manifested, all right? Here's Habakkuk 2, and I'm going to start off 2. And the Lord answered me and said, write the vision and make it plain upon tablets, that he may run that readeth it. And that's what we're doing right now. You know, making, you know, these, you know, telling you the prophecies that are about to come to pass, as spoken in the scriptures. All right, and the mass implementation of the law for the microchip, martial law, World War III, and the nuclear missiles flying and shit. And that's what we're doing right now. You know, we're telling you that these prophecies are going to be come to pass in the near future. And it says that he may run that readeth it. And yeah, you know, we give this warning, you know, we give this message so that the next man can get it and do the same thing. Verse 3, for the vision is yet for an appointed time, but the end it shall speak and not lie. Though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come, it will not tarry. And yeah, you know, we see these prophecies are coming to pass and shit. You know, these prophecies are no longer tarrying, but it says, though it tarry, all right, meaning that we're going to be waiting for a little while. Wait for it, because it will surely come, it will not tarry. And then just by looking at these prophecies, all right, you know, that should give us a faith booster, all right, showing you that, you know, Esau's end of the world is near, and that's a good thing, right? Because we don't have to be living in the same predicament that all of our people are in right now, right? Living in poverty, you know, getting fucked up and oppressed by Esau and his system, by his laws and regulations and shit. You know, through his court system, how they oppress our people, Jake, using the woman to rule over. You know, Esau just makes shit all out of order, right? But that's a good thing, you know. Esau's rulership is coming to an end. We don't have to no longer live in this same predicament that we are in now. But we gotta wait. All right. It says, because it will surely come, it will not tarry. And yeah, you know, these prophecies, you see some of these prophecies are coming to pass. Hey, you know, these prophecies are no longer tarrying. Right? They're all eventually going to be made manifested. And you know, we do gotta maintain in this truth. Sirach 2, Sirach 2 and 13. Woe unto him that is faint-hearted, for he believeth not. Therefore shall he not be defended. And faint-hearted is basically, you know, unbelieving. You know, it's basically, you know, not believing. You know, you start to get weak when you're faint-hearted. You know, lacking courage, timid. You know, not really believing in yourself. Not even believing in Yahweh Hashem, Yahushai. You know, losing patience. For he believeth not, therefore shall he not be defended. And you know, our elder already told us that many guys, you know, have fell out of the truth because, you know, when they thought when it's almost time, you know, to get delivered out of here, all of a sudden, you know, things kind of went back to normal, and they lost patience. All right, they started losing faith. You know, they stopped believing. All right, and they dropped the plow. But you know, in the scriptures, you know, the scriptures is basically a blueprint. All right, it tells you that, you know, we have need of, you know, patience. We gotta wait. Or we gotta wait upon Yahweh Hashem, Yahushai. says, woe unto you that have lost patience. And, the patience, goes into endurance. All right, well, yeah, patience goes into, suffering. All right. Of course, when you're in this truth, we're going to go through many kinds of trials and tribulation, but it's only for our betterment. All right. We're going to suffer, in this truth. All right. Shit's going to happen where you might get kicked out of the house. You have financial issues. Your car breaks down. Your bitch leaves you. You might have child support on you. All right. All kinds of scenarios. But it says, woe unto you that have lost patience. And these people that have fell out of the truth, all right, they lost patience because they couldn't endure any longer. They couldn't suffer for a little while. But it says, and what will you do when the Lord shall visit you? And now these people, now those that have dropped the plow, that have fallen out of the truth, all right, now they have no cloak for their sins. All right. They're going to be beaten with many stripes because, they knew the Lord's will, but they did not. And then really at the end of the day, those who fell out, all right, they were really never made as part of the elect from the beginning. All right, they weren't chosen from the beginning. All right, so those who are going to be enduring until the end, all right, are the elect. All right, they're the ones that are going to be delivered. It says Sirach chapter 4 verse 28, fight for this, strive for the truth unto death, and the Lord shall fight for thee. And it tells you to strive for the truth unto death, and they let you know one thing's for a fact. You're in this walk, you're in this truth. All right. You're going to go through many kinds of sufferings. All right, you're going to suffer. You're going to go through some shit. All right? And if you're not, the Lord ain't dealing with you. Oh, the elect men of Israel, right? They're all going to suffer, right? Because in the scriptures also it tells you that, the Lord is not greater than Salakia. In the scriptures it tells you that the servant is not greater than his master. All right, the servant is not greater than his master. And Yahushai, all right, he went through many kinds of trials and tribulations. All right, he suffered the most. All right, he was crucified. All right, but the servant is not greater than his master. So if Yahushai went through it, all right, the elect are going to go through it the same way. All right. But yeah, you see his prophecies are coming to pass, and they're it's kind of like dying down. But in the scriptures it also tells you that the day of the Lord shall come in as a thief in the night. All right, and we don't know, when all hell is about to break loose. We don't know when Yahushua is about to, return to this earth. All right, we don't know when the RFID microchip is going to be implemented, but we do know that one thing's for a fact is that we see these prophecies are coming to pass. All right, so let's just know that we're coming to the end of Esau's world. All right, this is Esau's end of the world. Here's Hebrews 10 and 36. Lucky. It says, for ye have need of patience, that after ye have done the will of Yahweh Hashem, Yahushai, ye might receive the promise. And yeah, we do need patience. All right, you do need to endure for a little while. You're gonna suffer. But it says that after ye have done the will of Yahweh Hashem, Yahushai, ye might receive the promise. It says, for yet a little while, and he that shall come will come and will not tarry. Now the just shall live by faith, but if any man draw back, my soul shall have no pleasure in him. And that's right, the unfaithful shall die on their unfaithfulness, right? So if you drop this plow, really, you're losing faith in Yahweh Hashem, Yahushua. You never really, believed in him. Never really believed in Yahweh Hashem, Yahushua, right? Just dropping the plow, is basically, that it basically shows that you really just don't believe. Alright? It says, now the just shall live by faith, but if any man draw back, my soul shall have no pleasure in him. But we are not of them who draw back unto perdition, but unto them that believe to the saving of the soul. And hey, in the scriptures it also tells you to, put on as the elect. Alright? And what that means is that, the elect are going to do the things necessary to make their calling and election sure. Alright? Striving for this truth unto death. Enduring. Having patience. Alright? Being a stoic. But anyways, that was it to that lesson. Hope it was edifying. Shalom.